Rasulika Kareem Amma Ba'd A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Acha, I'll keep it here unless I need to switch to Quranic reference. Until then, I'll just stick to this one. Right. Today we'll talk about the incident of Taif as well as year of grief with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, firstly, we'll talk about the things that led up to or prior to, sort of a prequel to the year of grief, and then we'll go into year and then the incident of Taif. Now, we last time we left on what? Remind me, who is going to remind me, where did we leave last time? Remind me, come on guys. No one? Should be someone who reminds me what we did last time. All right, no one. So last time we talked about Hamza and Umar's conversion, isn't it? You guys remember that, or have you forgotten even Hamza and Umar's conversion? Come on, yes or no? Be honest.
Yes. Not really.
Not really, as in you don't remember, or not really, you haven't forgotten.
Yes.
Yes, you have forgotten. All right. You know, okay. All right. So Hamza and Umar, we spoke about that. They were the two most strong people that converted into Islam. Hamza means lion, and Umar was Umar, and the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave him the title of Al Faruq. And why did he give him the title of Al Faruq? Because Faruq means distinguisher, farak karne wala, as in distinguisher, and distinguisher between what? Between the good and the bad. And remember when we spoke that before that the Sahaba never prayed in front of the Kaaba, but when both of them came into the fold of Islam, they went out publicly with their swords in 2 rows and stood by the Kaaba and said, anyone wants to have their husbands widowed, any woman wants to become a widow, should send their husbands out, or if children want to become orphans, they can send their fathers out to fight with us. And both of them stood on the corners of the Saf, and lo and behold, the Muslims were doing what they wanted to do in front of the Kaaba. Now, the Quraysh were very upset with the whole thing, they were like super upset what's going on. So they basically confronted Abu Talib and said, enough is enough. This cannot go on forever. So you guys have to stop the whole thing. Now, obviously, Abu Talib wasn't budging. He was like, no, 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 this can't happen. In the meantime, one of the elderlies, they said, okay, they hatched a plot and they went to the Prophet ﷺ and said, okay, we have a very good solution. And the solution is, and there are 2 or 3 different variations of it, but the summary of all the solutions is the same. So in one narration, it says that they propose that we worship your God for 1 year and then you worship our God for 1 year, and this cycle goes on. And then someone said, oh, by the way, let us both worship each other's gods, because if our God is giving any benefit to us, it's going to give it to you. And if your God is giving benefit to you, then it's going to give it to us as well. So let's worship both type of God, as in the true God and their false gods as well. Okay. Now, they came up with this proposition. Obviously, the Prophet ﷺ would have refuted it, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Surah Al-Kafirun immediately for this particular thing. And let me pull Surah Al-Kafirun. So, oh, this Surah Al-Masad. Surah Al-Kafirun. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the in Surah Al-Kafirun, say, O disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship, nor are you worshippers of what I worship, nor will I be a worshipper of what you worship, nor will you be worshippers of what I worship. And in the end, lakum dinukum waliyadeen, which means for you is your religion and for me is my religion. So this is why this also gives us a lesson that when someone argues with us who is not a Muslim and they talk about anything that we think might be nonsensical, we should just stay to we should just not argue, but rather we should say lakum dinukum waliyadin. You stay with your religion and I stay with my religion, and that's about it. Now what happens in Seerah as well is that once we are going through quite a lot of things, we are also getting the context of Quran, because we can see the ayats, the verses being revealed, isn't it? So when we are reading these ayats, sometimes we can actually think of these scenarios, so we can get a good background of it. We know, okay, this thing is this. Now if I ask you, when was Surah Al-Kafirun revealed, I expect not to tell me fifth year of Dawah or 10th year of Dawah, but the event that the Quraysh came and said, oh, let's worship each other's God. And that's when Surah Al-Kafirun was revealed. So when the whole thing was going on and they saw that Abu Talib was not budging from his stance, they pressurized so much so. And what they did was, the elders in the leadership of Abu Jahl, they signed a pact. And in that pact, they wrote that we will not do any trade with any of the Bani Manaf, and we will not do any marriages in them, will not do anything, will not give them food, will not do anything. So it was a total social boycott from anyone who belongs to Abu Talib and his extended family. So when Abu Talib heard this, this was quite something that has never happened before in Arabia, because Jahili Kuffar, they were all about the tribal relationships, right? So
Excuse me.
yeah,
We can't see your screen.
so there is no screen today. So you can only see, I guess,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay. Never mind.
right. That's fine. So what they did was, Abu Talib became very unhappy with the whole thing, and he voluntarily relinquished his leadership post. And he said, okay, I'll go and live somewhere else outside of Kaaba. And he took his family, which included Hazrat Ali, the Prophet ﷺ, his family, Hazrat Khadija, children, everyone in his entire circle, except Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab is also the family. Abu Lahab is basically a step brother to Abdul Manaf, as in Abu Talib. He is son of Abdul Muttalib from one of the wives. Abdul Muttalib had 5 wives, and one of the wife had only one son, which is Abu Lahab. So Abu Lahab said, "Oh no, 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 no! I'm not part of them. uh, I'm going to stay in Makkah, because although I am part of them, but I'm not part of them, because he saw that it's a full social boycott. So why should I be a part of it? Because I don't believe what they believe in." So he's basically stayed back, but everyone else went with Abu Talib. So Abu Talib, they had these zamine, they had these fields outside of Makkah, which is a place called She'be Abi Talib. So these were these fields in a valley, which did not have plantation or anything. It was just, fields. So they went there with whatever they could take. Now they could not do any trade or anything. So whenever they would come to Makkah to do any trade, no one would sell them anything. No one would buy anything. And if there are travelers who are coming for Umrah or Hajj, um, Abu Jahl would go and prohibit them that do not buy it from them, or if you want to, we will basically give you things, the same things cheaper than them, or they would basically buy their things in double price, as long as they can stop the transactions to Abu Talib's family. So this was all going on, and this was to an extent that uh, they all were living in on shrubs and leaves and even animal skin. Now imagine the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you have Hazrat Ali there, you have Hazrat Khadija, you have Hazrat Hamza, you have these big Sahaba, and they are living on what? Shrubs, leaves, and very little water and skin of animal. This was their sustenance. So when we see food in front of us and parents put food in front of us and we say, oh amma, I don't like it, oh ye bana diya aaj bhi yahi khana padega, oh ho ye kya hai bhai. Just think about this thing, that this is 7th year of dawa, and these folks, the best, no one is better than the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? He's the best person. And what is he having? A bit drops of water, dead animal skin, shrubs, grass, leaves. This is what he's eating right now, and his family. This is the best person. Imagine us. Who are we to complain if we can't get anything good, or if we don't get something, or if our parents give us the same food twice, or if it's more shorba or less shorba. So think about it whenever we are complaining about food, that what he had to eat in these 2 to 3 years. Now this happened around 7th year of Dawa, and they stayed in this voluntary exile for, some say 2 years, some say 3 years. So let's say between 2 to 3 years they stayed there and surviving on this. Now what used to happen was there were few good people in Makkah, like Hazrat Khadija's uncle Hakim ibn Hizam, and there were quite a few other people, Zuhair ibn Umayyah, Mutim bin Adi, Zoma bin al-Aswad. These people would leak food into, put food into camels, onto camels, and send it to them every now and then. So let's say after 3 to 4 months, if they pass through any checkposts, if they can get it through, then they would send these things, and then they would receive food, and then they would ration it and then eat it or drink it wisely. Now this went on for, as I said, 2 to 3 years, and all of these elderlies of Bani Hashim, they were very upset about the condition of Abu Talib and the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the families. So one day they made a plan. They planned that we will start saying something and start putting pressure on Abu Jahl that this boycott should be ended. So one of the most distant person was Zama, or Zuhair bin Abi Umayyah. So he said, I will start the discussion because I'm not a relative to you. So it's not going to look like as if we have planned it. So basically what they did was they did a plan. They made a plan that the person who was the most distant would start a discussion, and then everyone would jump in and take side of Abu Talib. This was again nothing to do with Islam. It had nothing to do with their love for the religion or their love for Allah. It was purely because of love for the Jahili Kuffar tradition of tribes, that our tribe cannot suffer like this. Why is my tribe suffering? So it has nothing to do with sawab or anything. This was just basically an instinct that we have to protect our tribals. So in the meantime, what happened simultaneously, Qaddar Allah, the Prophet ﷺ went to Abu Talib and said, I saw a dream, and in my dream I saw that the termites have eaten that pact, which is sealed in the Kaaba, and the only thing that is left on the pact is Bismikallahum. That is the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everything else has been eaten by Abu Talib. And Abu Talib was, are you sure? Definitely the Prophet is sure. Prophet said, yes, I'm sure. The angel told me. So it's like Allah told me. So that is 100% there. You can stake my life on it. And Abu Talib said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go. I'll put everything online for you. Let's see. So on one hand, Allah gave this news to the Prophet, and on the other hand, the whole planning is being done. And we'll see a lot in Seerah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he's the best planner. He always plans ahead, and something would occur and prerequisites would always be in the place. So what happens is Abu Talib is in Kaaba, he goes there, and this guy Zuhair, he stands up and he says, you guys are very bad and you are wretched and you are blah blah blah, and You have done a very bad thing by cutting the ties of kinship with your brothers, with your sisters, with your nephews, with your nieces, with your aunts, with your uncles. So this is intolerable. How can you guys even let it be? And Abu Jahl stood up and said, "No, bhai, we were all with it. You were in the agreement." And this other guy, Mutim bin Adi, he stood up and he said, "No, no, Abu Jahl, no. It's you who forced this treaty onto everyone. We are not a part of it." And then another guy stands up, Abul Bukhtari, and he says, "Yes." And then there is another guy, Zama, and then there is another guy, Hisham bin Amban. And then you can see 20, 25 people from the tribe stand up to Abu Jahl and say, "Nah, you are saying wrong. It was you who forced it onto us. Why would we cut ties with our kinship?" And Abu Jahl now realized that there is a plan going on, right? He's a clever person as well. So before he could say something, Abu Talib stood up and said, "Okay, how about I make a deal with you right now? Muhammad has told me that there is no parchment left. If that is the case, then there is no pact. Everyone is free to do what they want to. If the pact is still sealed in the Kaaba and you can take it out in front of everyone, then I will hand over Muhammad to you and do what you like." Everyone was so happy. Abu Jahl was like, "Wow, that's jackpot. You just hit bullseye, and no way on earth that we're going to let this deal go." Immediately, they run into Kaaba and they unlock it. They bring the pouch out where they kept the parchment. Lo and behold, they open the pouch, and inside, the only thing left on the parchment was Bismillahumma. And that's about it. Nothing. The termites had a good feast out of it. And they were like, "This is magic." And Abu Talib said, "Wallahi, magic or no magic, this was the deal. Now you go your way, we go our way." And that's about it. So the pact was dissolved and then everyone came back to normal. Now, a few months after this, Abu Talib fell very seriously ill, and everyone could see that he is now going to die. So they did another, let's say, a final negotiation. So we call it final negotiation. So the tribal elders like Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, and they came, and there were a few other Umayyah bin Khalaf and God knows. They came to Abu Talib and said, if if you die and your nephew continues to do what he's doing, this is going to end up in a civil war. So why don't you tell your nephew to come to some sort of peace, just step back, tell us what to do, we should we should coexist, but he does what he wants to. He should not touch our people. He should not preach to our people, and we will not touch him. But just let it be. So Abu Talib asks the Prophet ﷺ that, okay, they have this proposition for coexistence. What do you say? The Prophet ﷺ said, I just have one proposition. They accept one sentence from me, and that's it. Do what they want to, and I'll do what I want to. And oh goodness, they were like so happy. They're like, one, tell us 10 sentences and we'll give you. Prophet ﷺ said just one. He said, just say La ilaha illallah. And they were like, what? Was like, yeah, La ilaha illallah. That's it. Just say there's no one except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for worship. There's no deity except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So obviously the negotiation broke there, and Abu Talib was on a death. When death was very, very near, the Prophet ﷺ was by him, and he said, Ayyu ammi qul la ilaha illallahu kalimatun uhaju laka biha indallah. As in, my uncle, you must make a profession that there is no true God but Allah, and I will bear testimony before Allah. So basically, what the Prophet ﷺ was trying to do was tell him, at least say La ilaha now, so that I get a reason to stand in front of Allah and ask for your shifa and ask for your forgiveness. But at least just say La ilaha. Just about to, when he was about to say, Abu Jahl um, intervened and said, "O Abu Talib, will you abandon the religion of Abdul Muttalib?" And again, as he would say, "Oh, will you abandon the religion of Abdul Muttalib. That means Abdul Muttalib was wrong. So that's why you're abandoning his religion. So Abu Talib did not accept Islam. There are some narrations which say that Abu Talib did say that, um, I know that the religion is right, but if I do leave it, people will think that I left it because I was scared of death or I was scared of punishment. But anyway, Allahu Alam, what he said on his deathbed, the thing is that he did not accept Islam and he died as is. And the Prophet ﷺ said, La astaghfirunna laka malam annahu anka. By Allah, I will persistently beg pardon for you till I am forbidden to do so. Meaning, the prophets cannot do anything by themselves. They have to have Allah's permission to do anything. We know Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam, he went into the boat, isn't it, without the permission of Allah. And then the whole thing happened until he asked for forgiveness. But Nabis are masoom, they can do honest mistakes, but they do not do sins. So that is our firm belief. Nabis, any messenger or prophet cannot do a sin. They can do honest mistakes as a human, but they are masoom, like they're innocent. Now the Prophet ﷺ, what he did was he said, that's it, I'm going to consistently ask for forgiveness until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stops me to do so. And lo and behold, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals Surah Tawbah, ayat number 113 and Surah Al-Qasas, ayat number 56. In Surah Tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it is not for the Prophet and those who have believed to ask forgiveness for the polytheists, even if they were relatives, after it has become clear to them that they are companions of hellfire. And in Surah Al-Qasas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in ayat number 56 says, indeed, O Muhammad, it implies it's being told to the Prophet ﷺ, you do not guide whom you like, but Allah guides whom He wills, and He is the most knowing of the rightly guided. So this was basically, these ayat came down and stopped the Prophet ﷺ from asking for any further forgiveness. Now, there are a few sects that do say that Abu Talib was a Muslim. I'm not going to go into that detail, but because we have Quran, we have Sunnah, and we have Hadith to prove that Abu Talib did not accept Islam, that's why we would just stick to the basic sources. Now, in Sahih Bukhari, there is a reference where one of the Sahaba in later life asked the Prophet ﷺ a direct question as to, were you able to help in any way, as to help Abu Talib in any way? So the Prophet ﷺ replied, he is in a shallow fire, and had it not been for me, he would have been at the bottom of the hellfire. And there is another narration which is on the lines of that he gets the lowest degree of azab when you compare it with all the other people who are in Jahannam, who are going to stay there for eternity. So he gets the lowest degree of azab. Now, there is a huge lesson in this, and I really wanted to make a little bit of a point here. We spoke about just when Abu Talib was about to accept Islam, people around him said, Abu Talib, will you abandon the religion of Abdul Muttalib? I.e., people surrounding him, Qadar Allah, it is by the will of Allah that he didn't accept Islam, but from a different angle. They basically hindered him from going to Jannah, right? Because for Abu Talib, the tribal instinct took precedence over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah doesn't like if someone gives precedence or importance to something else over Allah himself. So this means that you have friends, everyone has friends nowadays, right? So it is so important that we have good friends in our circle, because the friends can actually send us to or help us to go into Jannah, and the friends can actually help us go into Jahannam as well. How? If they are telling you something wrong again and again and again and again, and giving you bad advice again and again, and telling you like the wrong, they show you luxury or they show you the better part, but the thing is wrong, conceptually wrong, religiously wrong, ethically wrong, morally wrong, but they are trying to tell you and convince you it is right. So what happens? You know, you end up in hot water. For example, children play around, have car, they speed and say, oh, let's, go for need for speed today. And we'll just go through every red light and we'll just go all crazy speeding. But there is a law. You can't run over a red light, isn't it? So if you are caught, you are caught. You are
Excuse
going
me.
to end up in a jail or with licenses
Right.
on your, with points on your license. So what
Assalamu
happens?
alaikum
The
warahmatullahi
friends
wabarakatuh. Nahmaduhu wa
are
nusalli.
the ones who are going to determine whether you are going to go into Jannah or you are going to go into something else, as in trouble. So always keep good friends around you. So if you have friends who are very influential on you and you think that they do, you learn good things from them, then that's a good sign. Stay with them. But if prod your heart and see, if you have friends with whom you can enjoy but sometimes you feel bad, or your heart is not in its place, or you feel something is not right, then stay away from them, because friends can, as I said, take you in both directions. Anyway, Abu Talib died, and when he died, Prophet ﷺ was already at his home. He had left him, he was at home. So Hazrat Ali came to him and said to him, to the Prophet ﷺ, in one narration it says, your uncle has died, and in one narration it is your misguided uncle has died. Because Hazrat Ali was in a very, he was in grief that he is a Sahabi, he is Muslim, and his father just died as a non-Muslim. So he told him, and the Prophet ﷺ said, okay, go and bury him. So Hazrat Ali said, he was a non-Muslim. So the Prophet ﷺ, yes, go and bury him. So he goes there and buries him and then comes back. And lo and behold, uh, this ends the chapter of Abu Talib, because death is inevitable. It's all, may Allah give us. There is a dua which is called Allahumma inni as'aluka al-husn al-khatima, as in may Allah give us the best of the ends, because everyone has to go one day or another. Now, the second biggest shock the Prophet ﷺ got in the same year, in fact, within maybe 40-45 days, was death of Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha. Now, Hazrat Khadija and they shared good 20-25 years together in a married life. And we know that the only children that survived were through Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha. And they, his love, the Prophet's love for him, for her was so much that a lot of Sahaba said that he did not laugh for many, many months after her death. He did not laugh at all. And he was so attached with Hazrat Khadija that in Madani life, Hazrat Aisha narrates that one day he was sleeping and Khadija's sister Khala, she came and knocked at the door. And the Prophet immediately woke up in shock because he thought it's Khadija because of the footsteps. And his face turned pale and he was so in distress, and she could see that pain on his face because he could remember everything from Aisha, from Khadija radhiyallahu anha. So she became a little bit, in a wife way, jealous sort of thing, So she said to few things to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which only a wife and husband can talk about, some irritating words, etc. And there was the end of the sentence was, why do you? The summary of it is, why do you still remember her, whereas Allah has given you something better, as in myself, something better. And this last sentence basically irritated the Prophet ﷺ quite a lot, and he basically said, Allah has not given me someone better than her. Wallahi, Allah has not given me someone better than her. She was with me when everyone boycotted me. So you can't have that blessing when she comforted me, right? She gave me comfort when everyone refuted me. Allah gave me children through her. And then the whole thing went on and on and on until the Prophet Sallallahu recited a lot of blessings of Hazrat Khadija. And then Hazrat Khadija says in first person that I never opened my mouth against Hazrat Khadija after that. She learned her lesson never to talk about Khadija. That was the love of the Prophet ﷺ for Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha. So within that space of 40-45 days, the Prophet ﷺ lost two big, shoulders that he relied on. One was Abu Talib and one was Hazrat Khadija Raziyallahu anha. Now he knew that because no, not Hazrat, sorry, Abu Talib is dead. He does not have that passport to travel because Abu Talib was giving him protection, right? So he started planning what to do. So he thought, let me go into Taif and see if these people are amenable to just give us protection there. So he went to Taif and he spoke with the elders over there. Well, when he spoke with now, Taif is about good, I think 50-55 miles southeast of Makkah. Taif is the only part or one of the most beautiful part in Saudi Arabia. So other than that, the entire Hijaz region is what desert, but Taif is basically a valley and it has like lush green trees and fields and it has very good weather over there. So it's sort of a summer resort area. So when the posh and rich people want to go somewhere holidaying, they all go to Taif. So he went to Taif and he spoke with the elders in the Taif. But the elders there, they basically made fun of him and in a very, very sarcastic way, in such a way that he was um, r- never mocked before. They really mocked very bad. And a lot of sheikhs have defined what they said, but I, I, I don't feel appropriate to even repeat those words. So anyway, um, however, when they did not agree with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Prophet said, okay, at least give me your words that you are not going to tell the Quraysh that I came here for seeking shelter. And they said, okay, we are not going to tell any Quraysh. Now, they after this, I'll tell you what they did. It was very bad, but they actually stayed true to their words. They never they didn't tell anyone in Quraysh that they came to ask for shelter. So the Prophet ﷺ, he started preaching the common people. Now, the rule of preaching is you always go to the top and then you always go to the bottom, because the topmost people are so influential. If they come to Islam, then people who are their followers, they would all automatically come in flocks because they would think, oh, if he is doing it, it must be right. The thing becomes a fashion as well sometimes, and then people think, oh, it is right, because they start practicing it. So a lot of times these things help. Muhammad Ali, boxer, I don't know if you guys even know about him, but he was one of the best ambassadors of Islam. Nowadays, Liverpool, Mo Salah and Sergio Mani, I think his name is. These two guys, they have flipped the whole thing of Liverpool. I used to live in Liverpool, and Liverpool people were super racist, super racist. Since Mo Salah has been there, now these are the people of Liverpool who are like super racist. They are talking about Islam as their friendly religion. They are doing sajdas with him. They are doing this and that. They are protecting the mosque. They are doing so much, because this guy Mo Salah basically became one of the idol figures for them. They're like, wow, this is the guy, this is the man. And God knows, I'm sure that a lot of people would have become Muslim because of him. So this is a thumb rule that when someone popular, someone influential becomes a Muslim or is a Muslim and does something, people follow him. So when the Prophet didn't see the elders budging, then he went to the commoners. And the commoners were actually quite receptive to Islam. However, when the elders saw what's going on, what they did was they sent these roughies, the hooligans, the goons, and asked them to pelt stones on him. Now, Taif is a valley, so if you are there in the valley portion and someone is on top of the valley, then if they throw stones, so one is the size of the stone, but imagine the gravity, the force that is going to be with that stone and is going to hit him. The Prophet was accompanied with Zaid bin Harisa, and both of them were stoned to an extent that they basically just ran for their lives from there. And about 6 or 7 miles after they had run, imagine 6 or 7 miles on foot, right? They were bloodied top to bottom. Their sandals were full of blood coming from all of their body. And immediately Jibreel alayhi salam came down and asked the Prophet that I have brought with him the angel of mountains. And Allah has asked me to ask you, if you give your order, we will collapse these two mountains together and will crush the entire valley. So we'll crush everyone that there because of the condition of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet made dua then, and he said that in that condition, imagine you have been stoned like that, and he's been running for his life for 7 miles almost. And he says that he makes a dua that I rather hope that Allah will raise from among their descendants people who will worship Allah, the One, and will not ascribe partners to Him. And we know after Fateh Makkah, Valley of Taif became Muslim as well, isn't it? So he didn't order anything. In one of the later days, Amma Aisha asked the Prophet ﷺ, was there any day more traumatic than the day of Uhud? And the Prophet, without even thinking, he said, yes, the day of Aqabah. Aqabah means stoning. And who was stoned here? The Prophet ﷺ. So, but the Prophet did not give away any other detail. So whatever details we have, we got it by Zayd bin Harisa telling someone else, and that Sahabi then basically narrating those incidents. But what the Prophet did was he did not tell us anything about Taif except that it was the worst day or the most tormentous day. This again tells us or teaches us a very good lesson. Go on. Someone was asking, saying something.
So are we going to take, sorry to interrupt, but are we going to take a namaz break in between?
We'll just end in next 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So what happened was now the lesson here is we as Muslims are not supposed to complain or moan about our conditions. The Prophet didn't do it. The Prophet never complained. He never moaned to people. If he had a complaint or anything, he would ask Allah for help. But he never asked for sympathy to people. He never went to people to sympathize with him. He would just say something, a little bit about something, but he would not tell a great detail. Whatever detail we have gathered is always as a hadith from Sahaba, not from the Prophet. The Prophet never moaned about his conditions. The Prophet never complained about his condition. Never, never, you know. So this is something that we need to bring in our lives, myself starting from that we should not complain about our life, about our conditions, about our circumstances, about anything. If we have any complaint, we should just go and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us relief. Now, when he crossed this, he came to a shelter, a tree, and he sat down. And when he sat down, he made a dua. It's a slightly long dua, but what
You're
I will.
just messing about.
Sorry, yes, say again. So he sat in the shelter of the tree and made a dua. Now, this dua was directly narrated by Ibn Ishaq, and all the ulama of modern times, they agree that even without any there is a lack of chain on it, but they all agree that this dua cannot have come except from the mouth of a prophet. This is not a human cannot make this dua. Now when I share the presentation, this dua will be there. I will quickly go through it, but the task is the people who did not present have to bring at least one sentence on the virtue of this dua as to what do you learn from this dua. Just one sentence, whoever did not present. If you do two sentences, that's fine as well, but everyone who did not present last time should look into the dua. So the dua is, and I'll again post it: to you my Lord, I complain of my weakness, lack of support, and the humiliation I am made to receive. Most compassionate and merciful, you are the Lord of the weak, and you are my Lord. To whom do you leave me? To a distant person who receives me with hostility, or to an enemy who you have given power over me? As long as you are not displeased with me, I do not care what I face. I would, however, be much happier with your mercy. I seek refuge in the light of your face, by which all darkness is dispelled, and both this life and the life to come are put in their right course, against incurring your wrath or being the subject of your anger. To you I submit until I earn your pleasure. Everything is powerless without your support. Now, for example, in one of this place where the Prophet said, um, I would be much happier with your mercy. So again, we see that the Prophet is saying, you know, as long as you are not displeased, I do not care about whatever is happening with me. However, if you give me ease, I will be much more happier, because ease, who doesn't like ease, right? But he is not asking a human for this. He is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us ease. And may Allah ease everything on us, our problems of our parents, their parents, problems of the Muslim Ummah. May Allah ease them all as well, especially the Muslims in Kashmir, in Syria, in Palestine, or wherever they are, Rohingya, or wherever where we can't name, all over the world. May Allah make everything easier on us, and may Allah save us from His displeasure. Ameen. With this, I'll end the lesson today. I will, inshallah, post the presentation tonight sometime and the video as well. Again, I will repeat, the people who did not or could not present last time, they it is preferable that they bring something about this dua, at least one virtue of the dua. So, for example, I define to you that the Prophet said that as long as you are fine with me, I'm fine, I don't care. So this means what? So the virtue of this sentence is that Allah's pleasure is the most important thing for us. So you need to find out one virtue out of anything, just one virtue out of the dua. And a lot of you might have the same things, that doesn't matter. But the thing is, look into this dua. This is a very, very powerful dua. Even if we can learn one sentence and bring it into our daily life, that is good enough for us. With this, we will inshallah conclude our session, and you guys can do Maghrib. I will send everything out. Yes, I will send the dua out, definitely. All right, guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Warahmatullahi
Thank you very much.
Allah Hafiz. Thanks.
wabarakatuh.
Jazakallah khair.